Be agreed to.
Mr Speaker.
I recognise the Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Mr Speaker, can I say that I'm very pleased that after our years in Parliament together that you do recognise me. I'd be very disappointed if you couldn't recall who I was. It's a real pleasure for me to stand in support of this legislation, and I want to begin by acknowledging the Honourable Nicky Wagner, who has introduced this private bill as the local Member of Parliament. I want to commend her for that. I also want to acknowledge the 8 members of the Arts Centre Trust, and in particular our former parliamentary colleague, the Honourable Margaret Austin, who I know is very passionate about this legislation. She's very passionate about heritage, and I suppose, like all of us from Canterbury, she's devastated at the loss that has happened as a result of the quakes in our city. Actually, not just as a result of the quakes, as a result of the demolition orders of the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority, where we've had magnificent heritage buildings demolished rather than be repaired. That is a travesty, and I know that the Honourable Margaret Austin and her fellow trustees would feel that very keenly. It is another demonstration, actually, of the national government being so out of touch where people are. People in Canterbury would love to see more of their heritage buildings repaired and restored so that we could once again have that connection to the past, which actually is so important for people looking to the future. But this isn't about the buildings that have been destroyed by Sarah. Thank goodness this legislation is about an extremely damaged set of buildings, the Arts Centre, which have been lovingly and tenderly started to be put back piece by piece, and it is going to be such a magnificent restoration of a set of buildings that really are at the heart and history of our city. As Nicky Wagner noted, the University of Canterbury used to be there. I want to acknowledge the Honourable Michael Cullen, who was one of the pupils. In knowing Michael, he's probably listening to this debate because he's very interested in heritage and history as well. That was his specialty when he was at the college, at the university. So this bill is pretty straightforward. It puts into legislation the Trust's objects, and that's very important. It also makes changes to the governance arrangements and other terms of the Trust. So it is a legislative protection which, the trustees and other people who have been involved in the operation have proposed to our Parliament that this is the best way to ensure continuity of care and passion and dedication to the running of the Arts Centre, but also ensure that whatever happens in the future, that work is still able to continue. So I think it is a bit of the responsibility of Parliament to accept that that work has been done, and it's really our job to progress it from here, as is appropriate with private bills. The Arts Centre is actually undergoing a huge restoration job at the moment. It's a 7-year time frame. It's $290 million. It's a huge amount of money, and I think having this legislation will mean that many potential donors will have more confidence and understanding of the needs of the Trust, of the needs of Canterbury, and will be better positioned to support it. I hope that that's one of the many benefits of this legislation. Can I just conclude, Mr Speaker, by expressing a small amount of disappointment, and I don't want to personalise it, but I need to direct it to the member in whose name this bill is in, because it was she that just said that she's going to refer this bill to the Local Government and Environment Committee. And I'm devastated because the Government Administration Committee has got nothing on the agenda, and we're a really competent committee, and Margaret Austin told us that we were probably going to get this bill. She thought we were going to have it referred. The members of that committee agreed to an informal discussion with the Honourable Margaret Austin just so that we were ahead of the game, and that was much appreciated by everyone, and now we're devastated. I think that my colleagues on that committee are probably too upset to contribute to the rest of the debate, to be honest. So if the Minister changes her mind before the conclusion of the debate, the members of the Government Administration Committee stand ready, willing and able to take charge of this bill. I'm really delighted that it's here. I'm proud to support it, and I hope that it progresses creating some interest in our city, creating some good debate, creating a further sense of pride in our heritage and a respect and passion for the people who do so much in our city, particularly the trustees of the Arts Centre. Thank you.
Thank you. Just before I call the honourable member, I just wish to advise members that the People's House, the chamber, is a place of listening and debate. This is not a call centre, and cell phones are not permitted, are not an extension of the member's office, and when in the House must be in silent mode.
Mr. Speaker.
I call the honourable member Jackie Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm very pleased to stand up